Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show before the free show. It's Friday.
It is Friday.
It's a good day. It's cold outside, but it's pretty. And I can take that. I don't like cold and like
it's very, very, very cold this morning.
Yes, it was.
It was. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the pre-show before the free show. Hank listens to a podcast in the morning.
Oh, wow.
He's got a little box, and I think I've told you this before, but like being a kid now rules.
Yeah.
Like you've got so many cool things, and he got this thing for Christmas from his aunt. I don't know. You know what I mean.
I don't say aunt. I say aunt.
My brother's I
kind of say it with a country twang,
from my brother's
I guess.
wife. Hi, Amanda. And it's called a Yodo player. Okay, and so what it is you're able to put little cards into it, and it'll play different things. It's kind of like a new version of like a CD player, except it uses RF D chips or whatever it is, like in there. But one of the things that it does have like a daily podcast, and in the morning, well, you can listen to it whenever, but like it's a British guy named Jake who he does like a fun game. It'll be like, all right, let's name 5 animals that start with the letter G. You know what I mean? He'll do like a fun game and like a brain teaser. Today it's like, but he always says fry yay. Because then I'm like, all right. And then at the end, one of the things that Hank really likes is that they do birthdays.
Oh.
And so you get to hear that, and it's all over the world too. So it's like you get to hear that Maria in Canberra, Australia, is turning 4, and here's a message from her mom and stuff like we love you, blah blah blah, stuff like that. So now pressure's on that when December rolls around, he's got to be on.
Yeah.
The pressure.
You're going to have to send one.
Make sure.
Well, it's a good thing you know a place with microphones if you need to record a birthday message.
No. He reads them off. So that's the thing. It's this nice British man who just says, "Happy birthday to Hank." Or
gotcha.
So, okay. Speaking of Hank, I promised you yesterday the other option on the pre-show.
Yes. Hank is in T-ball.
Hank is in T-ball. We had our first T-ball practice on Wednesday. He is on a team called the Savannah Bananas.
Oh, wow. That's the dancing team. That's the dancing minor league team. They're a big deal.
He's on the Savannah Bananas.
Yeah. If you haven't seen what the Bananas do, they're awesome. Like
they're an independent league team, yeah.
Yeah, they dance.
They're closer to they're like the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball, basically. But he's on the Savannah Bananas.
Okay.
And he's so the team has been together for like a year or 2 maybe, because it's like a 5 and under league.
Okay.
But he's one of the new guys on the team, and the coach just says, "Call me Coach Bananas," which is great.
That is fantastic.
And so we went to the first practice, and we go out there, and Hank's got, we've got all the equipment. By the way, they will charge you a lot of money for some of this stuff. Some people wanted $110 for a T-ball bat. Oh, we don't play that. No. Anyway, but
it was like that when my brother was playing.
But we were, so we go out there, and he's got his glove, which he got for Christmas, and he got his bat, and you have to buy your own helmet, which is kind of crazy. But anyway,
that's weird.
Yeah, all that's to say, gets out there, and we've been practicing in the backyard a little bit. We've been practicing in the backyard, and swinging, hitting the ball and stuff like that, as well as just kind of catching and throwing stuff like that. And so he's okay. Like, he's holding his own for a 4-year-old and stuff like that. There's two things that he's struggling with.
Okay.
And I'm going to own one of them, and the other one is just something he needs to learn.
Okay.
The one that I'll own, he gets up there to hit. It's his turn to hit at practice. He gets up there, and, coach is fixing his stance and stuff, which is great.
Right.
But he swings, he hits it.
And then he doesn't run?
He just stands there.
Yeah, because if you're playing backyard, they don't know to run.
I never got around to
saying, "Hey, you gotta
go." That you just like there's another part to it. It's not just hit it and then and then
Dad goes and gets the ball and puts it back on the tee. Yeah, some of them. My favorite thing is when they do that and then they turn around to look for Dad in the stands, like, I hit it, and then all the dads go, "Go, buddy! Go, buddy!"
Go! So we had to work on that.
Seen that one many times.
We're working on base running.
That's good. Right, which is, to be fair, like way easier to learn than hitting the ball. Yes. So that's good. He's in a good spot.
So he got to hit twice.
Good.
2 swings, 2 hits.
Let's go. Okay.
All right.
We're batting 100%. Now we got to work on the running.
The other thing is when he's in the field. So when he's in the field,
Mm-hmm.
And ball gets hit to him, he's really okay with stopping the ball. Like he kind of, we talked about getting in front of it and just kind of putting your, and using it as like a scooper.
Yeah.
We talked about using a scooper, the glove. But then what'll happen is that the ball will be sitting there. And he will take the glove and he'll try to do the crane machine thing where it's like, I'm going to pick it up with the glove.
Claw.
Pick it up with the glove. And it's like, buddy, just use your hand at that point. Which I can understand his idea, which is, why did you buy me this glove then?
The other side of it, too, and I don't know, maybe you haven't thought of this, what's the only other sport that Hank has played? Soccer. You can't go pick up the ball with your hand.
Don't use your hands at all.
So maybe it's like, hey, I've got an apparatus that allows me to pick it up, but I've been told time and time again, you cannot go pick up the ball with your hands.
Obviously, in this sport, you can use your hands as long as it's covered with a glove.
Right.
Right. Anyway, so practice is going well. Got another practice on Sunday. We're gonna get some reps in. You know, we're gonna get there. I think it was a solid first practice.
And the other thing is too, if he's trying to pick it, like usually the fielding the ball with the glove is a lot harder for them to understand than the picking up. So it's like if he's got the hitting and the glove down,
he's got the glove on the right hand.
You can teach the other stuff fairly
to be clear,
easy.
He's got the glove on the left hand, the correct hand, and then he's throwing. Not that left or right is correct. You know what I mean?
But
I'm saying
correct for him because he's right-handed.
I'm using correct as a form of right.
Hank term.
So
no, it'd be great if he was left-handed for baseball.
We'll get there. I'll let you know the schedule.
I was just fixing to ask, like, is this a thing that Mallory and I and Ish can, like, make signs for and
Would
come?
you like to come to a Bananas game?
Oh, I would love to come to a Bananas game. I would absolutely love that. Is there a concession stand?
No.
Oh, okay, that's fine. I'll bring my own ballpark pickle. I always used to love getting the giant ballpark pickles.
Of course you did.
It felt right.
You're just so on brand.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. Anyway,
okay, I would love to come to a Bananas game.
We're a T-ball family now, so.
Okay, fantastic.
Go Bananas. Hit the theme expo. Pickle! Hit the arrow sign. Yes, y'all. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it's Texas Football Today, a show on Friday.
Yeah.
My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, whether you're watching us live at TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all the places where you listen to us in the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I'm sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She is the Duchess of the Dorks. She's Ashley Pickle.
Howdy.
Hi.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Can you believe, look at us, we did a show all 5 days this week.
Yeah. I mean, Mallory stepped in for me one of the days.
I did a show all 5 days this week.
I still...
Look at me, Iron Man over here.
Yeah.
I did it.
You carried the team.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Today is Friday, February 17th, 2023, 279 days till Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to Tepwife.
Yeah, my wife. Happy birthday.
My wife is turning an age today.
29 again.
29
She
again?
still looks 29.
She does. For those who don't know.
She's aging like fine wine.
For those who don't know, A, I have a very pretty wife.
Yes.
And B, I have a wife who is immune to to time.
Yeah.
She's like a time traveler.
Yeah.
And part of it is, now this is certainly part of it.
Mm-hmm.
She is petite.
Yes.
My wife is small.
She
I
is.
have tiny wife.
Yeah, I always like standing next to her. I feel bad when I go to hug her because I feel like I'm like, hey, Jen.
I know.
Like,
but I also think because my mother-in-law is also petite and she looks very young as well.
I was just fixing to say that both of your in-laws do.
And so I think that it's one of those things that
some people have good genetics.
Yeah, it's probably annoying when you're 16
Yeah.
And it probably rules when you are my wife's age.
Yeah, because I guarantee you there were a lot of people, especially like when she turned 21, that were like, there is no way that you're 21. Like, that was a struggle. But, you get anywhere north of 29,
now
and it's like,
she's living the dream.
Yep.
She's living the dream. So happy birthday to Hank and Max's mom.
Happy birthday, Jen.
Episode 1541. On today's show, folks, we're going to hear from Denton Guyer head coach Reed Heim, who, of course, took the Wildcats to the state semifinals in his first year at the helm there with the Wildcats. In the back half of the show, it's Helpful Honda Mailbag Friday. We're answering your questions about high school football, college football, recruiting, lifestyle, romance, travel, Valentine's Day, how to make up for a Valentine's Day that you screwed up. Did you hear our conversation? Did you go back and watch the show on Wednesday?
No, I did not have an opportunity
I will
to.
save this I'll ask you the question now and you can think about it.
Okay.
What is your favorite, and Llano's out. You can't pick Llano.
Okay.
What is your favorite city in Texas that has fewer than 150,000 people that live in it? Okay?
Okay.
That's your question. That's a question for you as well, the audience. But we will answer all your questions on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch coming up here at the back half of the program. Do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was Zill 0678.
Yeah.
Aaron Arbuckle, which, by the way, happy birthday to, I am assuming, his son, Bradley Arbuckle.
All right, it's a good day, man.
7th birthday. He said today is the 7th birthday of a future Texas high school football standout, Bradley Arbuckle. Happy birthday, Bradley. And then just Chad and Chris Armstrong. Welcome in, fellas.
Welcome in, friends. We appreciate you spending a little bit of your day with us. Another person who spent a little bit of his day with us recently was Reed Heim, the head coach of the Denton Guyer Wildcats, fresh off a state semifinal appearance and coming back loaded in 2023 for his second year at the helm. Here is our conversation with Reed Heim of Denton Guyer here on Texas Football Today.
Greg Powers, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and I'm joined out here at Denton Guyer with the head coach, Reed Heim. Man, I want to kind of talk about the first season and what it was like getting out there and being the head coach of what I consider to be one of the most elite programs in the state. And, it was a good run.
Well, it's one of those things where you look back and you really don't get a chance to take it all in until you get a couple of weeks out past that last game. It didn't end up quite the way that we had wanted it to, but it was an unbelievably successful season. We saw a lot of superlatives for, our stars, and those guys, many of them already taken off for college. Really excited about watching them grow and excited about the guys that we have coming back. It's we got a good nucleus of guys, and it's been so far really good this offseason.
I want to kind of talk a little bit about the offseason. You got to hit the ground running last year. You really didn't get a chance to put your arms around this team, but this is your first offseason now here at Denton Guyer. What have your impressions been like, and what's it like working with these guys, every day?
Well, first of all, you look at what our staff is. We sit back and evaluate the season, and really this part of the year, our head coach is Kyle Keese, who's our strength and conditioning coordinator.
Great strength and conditioning coordinator, by the way. Pays attention to every detail I see.
Absolutely, and people ask, what makes Guyer special, and I go back to what we do in our off season. Really, that's the heart and soul of who we are, and to see the young guys already putting on the weight that they're doing, working as hard as they are, and they know that there's big shoes to fill, but they're excited about the opportunity and really taking advantage of this time to change their bodies, change their mindsets, and get ready for next year's season.
As a head coach, how important is the offseason as it relates to what success you feel like you're going to have on the field in the fall?
It's critical. I mean, it is the core of your success. You have all these young men that everybody. You have a biological age and you have a training age. So you have these guys that some don't really develop until they're juniors and seniors, and that's got nothing to do with how hard they're working. Some guys, look like they're 30 when they get here when they're 14. And so you just have this conglomerate of different guys and trying to put together a program that encompasses all of those guys, but also tailors individually to those guys. It's just unique to see how we come together as a staff and putting together a program for those guys to achieve the goals that we set for the season. And at a place like Guyer, the expectations are high year in, year out, and the only way that you're going to reach those is to have great off seasons.
You know what? I'll give the fans a little bit of a history lesson here. We date back a little bit. We were running together a little bit when you were a college coach, so I know you know a thing or two about college recruiting and that kind of stuff. You know, I get excited about recruiting. It's my job to cover some of the top prospects in the state. Man, you got a good lesson here last year right out of the gate as the head coach when you had Peyton Bowen going through one of the most interesting recruiting processes in the state. And your group that's coming back, there's a lot of talent. And we'd be sitting here talking all day if I asked you about every single one of the guys. But I'm gonna pick a few guys out to ask you about, and then I'm gonna ask you for a sleeper, a name to know that we can put on our radar, or somebody that we either want to watch develop closely or someone that you feel like could put his best foot forward with the big 2023 season. And I'm going to start with, Eli Bowen. He's a ball magnet, 10 interceptions 2 years ago, and teams didn't want to pick on him last year at all, but he's still a couple forced fumbles, couple touchdowns on the defensive side of the ball. What makes Eli so special?
I think, besides the athleticism and just being able to play on both sides of the football, I just look at him and just am amazed by his competitiveness.
Yeah.
The fact that he approaches every snap in practice, he approaches every game like it's on the line. And so when you bring that to every snap, to every game, to every opportunity that you have to play, then you combine that with what his natural abilities are, you're going to find yourself having the ability to coach, a top, in my opinion, top 10, top 5 corner in the country.
Gotcha. And does he have that little brother mentality a little bit? Are those little brother? It's hard to be tougher than Peyton Bowen, but is he a little scrappier?
I think the competitive piece is a direct reflection of, hey, I have, they're only a year apart, so everything that they've ever done, where they compete against each other, maybe Eli, was younger, maybe a little shorter as far as the growth goes, all that stuff. So he knew that he could never take a playoff in anything that he did. And I think that is reflected on how he plays the game.
Willie Goodacre, I'm a big Willie Goodacre fan. I feel like he's one of the guys, I don't know, I just gravitate towards him for some reason. And then watch him work out in the weight room. You see how big he is, but he's got those skinny athletic ankles too. What makes Willie the anchor of that offensive line?
Well, first of all, he's huge.
Yeah, he is.
He's a big body. He's sitting right at around 310, 315. He has the ability to carry more, but moves really well at that weight. I think that I appreciate what he brings to the table as far as leadership goes. When you lose Peyton Bowen, when you lose Jackson Arnold, some of those guys, Landon Cy Stovall, some of those guys that you followed out through the season had incredible seasons. There's a void to be filled, not necessarily just in yards or touchdowns, but what is the voice in the weight room? What is the voice on the field? And he's really natural at that. So he's got this talent, can move people around, good feet, tough, loves to play football, but really has that a real innate leadership ability that we need right now, and he's doing a great job.
Coach, you lost Landon Side. You mentioned him in that that last little breakdown that he was doing with Willie. Team leader, kind of that guy that you could depend on to, be your third down receiver. But you got one coming back here in Josiah Martin, a guy who I feel like his athleticism is sneaky, and he's not only a deep ball threat. To me, his route running's really coming along as well.
I think so too. I know that him being in our program last year for his first year, I look back and people ask me, tell us about him as a player, and I reflect back to not necessarily one of the deep balls that he caught, but a fourth down slant against Alito, where he caught it, got hit, held onto the ball. And so I saw a side of toughness that you're looking for as a coach when you're trying to evaluate guys that you don't know maybe as well as some of the ones that have been in your program for 3 and 4 years. But absolutely, as far as his ability to change direction on dime and then accelerate out of a break are really, really special. And you combine that with his ball skills and flat out speed. He had an RGPS, which is Titan. He had the highest mile per hour tracking time or tracking speed in the country last year.
Wow.
It's for their teams. Now, that's not every kid in the country, but that's the teams that they track at 23.1 miles per hour. And if you're running 22 miles an hour, you're moving.
Yeah, no doubt. That's fast. Xavier Opono, we'll talk about him next year. How about that? He's a guy that's getting all these offers, great defensive tackle. Everybody's kind of stepping to him, but he's still got a couple years in the program. So give us that sleeper. Who's a guy that we really should be paying attention to, or not only us, but colleges? Like, who's a guy that you want to push in front of these colleges when they come through the doors and during the spring evaluation period?
Well, it's a guy that if you've played us, you absolutely know who he is. His name is Palumi Olani-Pakun. He's our nose guard, and he doesn't necessarily fit all the measurables. He is right at 5'11", 6 foot. He's 280, 282 right now. But you want to talk about explosive get off and disrupting offenses. There is not a coach that we play that's an offensive line coach that will not say that guy is a disruptor. And and he's been a player for us as a sophomore, been a player for us as a junior. He's really, really special, and I sure hope that he has the opportunity. He's good enough to play at most places in the country. It's just that opportunity. Hopefully, it comes for him soon.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to have to worry about it. I agree with you. He's a guy who just makes plays every time that we see him. He's a team leader. It just seems to get it from a football standpoint. You know what? He's one of the best in the business for a reason. Coach Reed Heim over here at Denton Geyer, man. Appreciate it. And you know what? Good luck with this upcoming season.
Thanks, Greg. Really appreciate you guys, everything you do for our sport, covering these high schools and doing so much for our kids and providing and helping them get opportunities to play at the next level. Thank you so much for what you do.
Appreciate that, Coach. Thank you.
You got it.
Born and bred in Texas hits a little different, as it should. Texas loves doing business with fellow Texans. VCR Now takes its Texas roots as seriously as its many partnerships with schools and universities around the state. It's also why we're so proud to promote our brand in the pages of the Texas Bible, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and on the airwaves of Texas Football Today. Driven by producing quality broadcast video, state-of-the-art audio, and LED video scoreboards at affordable prices, VCR Now makes sure to listen to your needs in its athletic department before recommending the next best steps. Building great products is our business, and it's our focus on building meaningful, long-term partnerships with our clients that sets us apart. From our 24/7, 365-day help desk, the training lab in our hometown of Red Oak, or our sports marketing business plan that puts money back in the hands of our athletic departments we support, VCR Now is built to last. Reach out to us today at info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW. Again, that's info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW.
There is Reed Heim, the head coach of the Denton Geyer Wildcats, talking to our own Greg Powers earlier this week. We appreciate his time, as always. We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com. Did you be real just now?
Yeah. And I got it in time, too. Let's go. That's called being real. We're not fake on this show. Well, you're being fake, but whatever.
What an accusation. We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com. Talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Consider going to TexasFootball.com, please, for all your football needs. We hope you'll click there, which a lot of people have. A lot of people have been clicking on TexasFootball.com. It's what all the cool kids are doing. I gotta be honest. I hear it on the streets. I don't know if you talk to the youths, but they're saying, man, you know what the new hot website on the internet is? It's TexasFootball.com.
Yeah, there's billboards, and it's saying what the youths are saying today.
Yeah, because there's one thing that the youths respond to. It's billboards. Anyway, one thing that we know the youths respond to is Helpful Honda Mailbag Friday.
The North Texas Honda dealers want to help you score on award-winning Hondas like the rugged and reliable 2023 Ridgeline. Stop by your Helpful Honda dealer today or visit ntxhondadealers.com to learn more.
So if you've got questions about high school football, college football, recruiting, lifestyle, romance, travel, get them in right now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We'll answer as many as we can until I have to go get a haircut. So we will get into all of that. Now, Pickle, I posed to you a question before we get to some questions from the peeps.
Yeah.
About your favorite Texas city under 150,000 people. And I told you that Atlanta off limits because that's your hometown. Obviously, you love your hometown.
Yeah.
Very proud of that. But what is your favorite city outside of under 100? Basically outside the top 20.
Yeah. Well, it stinks because I have two. Can I do one bigger, one smaller?
Sure. You can do it, like a small big town.
Yeah.
Or and then like a small town.
Yeah. Because the big one would be Denton. They're at 130 something.
That's what started this conversation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on Wednesday we talked about Denton, and we were like, it's kind of on that cusp of like not quite a small town, but not quite a big city.
Yeah, that's my favorite part about Denton is if you go anywhere on the loop, it feels like you're in a big city. You can go to whatever restaurant you want or whatever store you need or anything like that. But if you get inside the loop and you're around doing all like the community events on the square, it feels like hometown. So Denton would be my big answer. For small answer, Port Aransas. That one, that they only had like, it wasn't that many, 3,000-ish or so.
That
Obviously,
right.
it's a tourist location.
Sure.
But Port A is the easy answer if you want to do like actual favorite city.
There is my father. Hello, my father-in-law really wants to go to the beach with the boys, and
it's the best experience when they're little.
Like I told him, I was like, we just go to Port A. We don't need to get super fancy or anything. We just go to Port A, and so we might. I need to ask my folks. I don't think I've ever been to Port A.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I've
heard wonderful things.
Yeah, my uncle had a beach house. It was his parents' house that then he decided to keep afterwards and let the family use. So it was actually on Padre Island. When I say that, everyone is always like, "Oh, South Padre," and it's like, no, that's down by the RGV. It's different. Padre is right in between Corpus and Port Aransas. So yeah, we would go to the beach every single year on Port Aransas. That's a fun going home type trip for me.
Got it. Very cool. All right, let's get into questions from the people. Has anybody asked us any questions?
Yes. I'm going to start off with this one. This one's for me. What was your favorite wine that you tried in Fredericksburg last weekend / favorite, the boards, I can't say the word.
Charcuterie?
That one. Item or combo. So my absolute favorite wine down in Fredericksburg, if you go to Fat Ass Ranch and Winery, they have a blueberry wine. A blackberry wine. A blackberry wine that is absolutely outstanding. I am not much into anything sweet. I like really dry stuff. That is the one more on the sweeter side wine that I will absolutely enjoy. I got 2 bottles to bring back home. A couple of my friends asked me for bottles to bring back home. So we came back with a lot of blackberry wine from Fat Ass. It is outstanding.
Okay.
So
blackberry wine.
It is exceptional.
Okay.
All right. With magazine season approaching, what was your favorite?
Why would you say that?
This is Matt's step because he is fiending. He's up in Canada, so he has to get his fill.
I'm looking at the budget right now.
What is your favorite part about putting the magazine together, and your least favorite part?
My favorite part's when it's done. My least favorite part's when we start. No, that's not true.
I'm gonna hit hard agree there.
I always love the cover shoot. That's an easy answer, right? Because it's fun.
Yeah.
Pretty much everybody who's on the cover is like excited about it. I think especially like we got spoiled last year with Joey McGuire and Jeff Traylor, who were obviously so excited to be on the cover, and then South Oak Cliff, they were super fired up to be on the cover as well. So that's always really fun. I do get a sick sense of satisfaction on the data organization side of it, because I am like Pickle's on these emails now. So one of my deep held loves is tracking the number of questionnaires we have in.
Yes.
And every Friday, you are on these emails now. I send an email to our boss, functionally to keep our boss, like theoretically, it's to keep him in the loop.
Yeah.
On how we're doing.
But really, you just get enjoyment.
Really, I love crunching the numbers and like understanding where we are compared to past years, because I have it tracked by how many we have each week, tracked back to 2016. And so like I have all this data, and I can tell you like when we made like a really big leap, and when we've done really well, and when we're behind, and when we're ahead and stuff. And so that is like sick satisfaction on my part. That's one of the things that I actually do enjoy is like watching him come in, and then obviously reading it. And then I do, I love writing for the magazine. I don't know. It's fun.
For me, my favorite part of magazine season is editing. And I know that sounds crazy, but I feel like there's multiple parts to this. One, that means that the end is in sight. That means that we are on like the final 2 weeks.
So you're talking like reading pages.
Yeah, reading pages. It's like the big push. And it's really cool to see like, okay, hey, like this is actually all coming together. Like, we're almost there. So that is really fun. The other thing that I love about that is then I'm not on my computer, which is a nice break from that. And then third, I can print out the pages and I put them on a clipboard and I go to the pool and I read the pages, because I literally do the exact same amount of work sitting here or sitting at the pool. So that's my favorite part.
I will hold back our $1 billion idea.
Yeah, let's not bring that to air. My least favorite part of putting the magazine together is anything that has to do with headshots. Whether that is, I have been the person to organize the headshots. So what we do is, part of the questionnaire is coaches are able, it's not mandatory, but they can send in headshots of their players. Yeah. Someone has to go through and organize every single headshot that gets sent in.
I used to be the one who did that.
By classification, region, district, all of that. Like, I mean, you have so many folders, so that stinks. But then this year, Mallory did that. I didn't have to do that. But I did have to, when you go in and I organize pages or laid pages, and when you have to go in and put the headshots in, anything that has to do with headshots has always been the most gruesome, grueling task.
But one of the things, so here's one of the things that I do appreciate about this magazine and putting it together, is there is, and I think you discovered this, or you have in recent years, because last year was your first year laying out. A lot of it is just, it's not difficult, it's just tedious. It's a lot of tedium. And so I really do enjoy putting on headphones, putting on some lo-fi chill hot beats to study/relax to.
Yeah. Especially at that point, it's usually kind of rainy outside. If you can get a nice rainy night when you're laying out pages.
Just jamming and powering through about 3 hours of work and stuff like that. That's really nice. So yeah, that's probably, but as far as my least favorite part, I don't know. Like, I do not enjoy laying. This is gonna sound weird, but laying out the index is a pain.
Yeah. Oh, playoff results.
Oh.
That's it. That's your Achilles heel. You hate playoff results.
So in the magazine for each classification,
because you always say, "Ish, we have to do it this year," and y'all both just go.
And you may remember,
you redesigned it.
You may remember a couple years ago, go back and look in like maybe the 2020-2021 edition. We decided to dial it back. Instead of listing the score for every playoff game, we just did like the regional finals and the champion. Like, we were like, what if we just do this? And we got enough people who wrote in and were like, I don't like this. Like, please go back to this. I use it as a reference tool in the future. And that is the strange thing about the magazine, is that we have to balance of a lot of different things, because we are a narrative publication. Like, we want you to read our cover stories, we want you to read the features, we want you to read these, read all these things that we put a lot of work into. But we are also like a dictionary. Like, we're a reference material, and so we have to balance that. And so yeah, the playoff results is an all-time beating.
You know, the other thing I didn't mention about
I forced it out of my brain.
The other thing I didn't mention about the editing side of stuff that I really love is actually that's incredibly valuable to me, personally, because you don't realize how much of that information you may retain, because you're looking for parentheses that aren't right in the heights and weights. You're looking for spelling errors or grammatical errors or that kind of stuff. But it is truly shocking about, like, now that I am obviously well versed in Texas high school football, now all of that stuff starts to stick, and you see a player and you're like, oh, I didn't know he was back this year, or this coach went there, I need to remember that. It is actually a super good 2-week studying tactic for me to get ready for the season. That's why I love the editing portion.
You are spot on that, like, when you get done with this magazine, well, especially like if you work here, because I know I've told this joke before, but like, people come to me and say they read our magazine cover to cover, and I always tell them, like, no, you don't.
You don't.
Like, you don't. Like, we do.
Yes.
We read every page of this
single
magazine.
page.
And when you get to the end of it, you really have taken like a full-on doctorate level course in high school football and college football too.
Right.
Of like, you feel like you know it all.
Well, and that's the other thing. Like, I always read all the small college stuff too, or the sub FBS sections.
I think we're calling it non-FBS.
Non-FBS. Okay, we got to decide what we're calling it because I never know what to call it anyway. In the past, it's been small college pages, so I'll just say that for now. And it's like I would not know barely anything about any of those teams if I didn't do the research on that beforehand. So the editing is a really fun time.
I will say this, and I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it this year because we have Corey Hogue on staff. But the past couple of years, I've written either the Prairie View A&M section or the Texas Southern section. And in past years, I've written the SWAC preview as well. The SWAC is just, in past years, it has been a real hole in my knowledge base as far as college football is concerned. I think because like they just don't have a great TV deal and they're like almost never on TV.
Right.
Like that. But I felt like when I wrote those,
you could hold your own at that point.
Like I was really excited. I wrote the Texas Southern preview this year, and I found myself on Saturdays like seeking out Texas Southern games to watch it because you really get to know these programs and like you talk with Clarence McKinney and you figure out like how he's feeling about the team, and you feel like you know the team. Like I imagine one of the things. So Mike Craven is going to write. Well, I budgeted it out. Our senior college writer. He's going to write 12 of the 13 FBS sections. Because remember, Sam Houston's an FBS team now. He's going to write 12 of the 13 FBS sections. And I asked him, I was like, do you want me to kind of spread these out? And he just said, he's like, no, like, this is such a great crash course for me because I get to go and talk with these guys and I need to know these teams inside and out anyway. And so, it is drinking from a fire hose.
Yeah.
But like at the end, you're like, I feel like I just know so much just off the top of my head that I should. You now understand, you've worked here long enough that I've described the way my brain works as like an illness, as like a sickness.
Yeah.
And now you get it.
Yeah, it's because you read the encyclopedia front to back almost multiple times. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, yeah, what do you need to know? And then it just pops into your brain.
It's wild, right?
Yeah, it really is. Well, and yeah, to think about doing this job without doing all that studying in the off season, it would be impossible.
It
would be literally impossible.
Is you and when you talk about when we finish this magazine, like we're exhausted, obviously, but like we're also like jonesing at that point because we're like we've been waiting
reading
for this.
about this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right, what's next?
Let's see.
Get your questions in, nerds.
There was one I was gonna say. No, there's
actually
actually a lot of questions.
You've got it.
How many Cinderella teams crash the playoffs on average? Would you say?
That's a good question. You know what? Actually,
I'd say like big crashes. 3.
Let me see
4?
if I can find this. So our data partner Jerry Forrest sends out this thing every year, and I want to see if I can find this really quickly. You may just have to listen to me, rant and rave and stuff like that. Okay. So, yeah, here we go. So we have this. So based on the magazine, from the magazine, there are 704 UIL Texas high school football playoff teams, right? We correctly predicted 590 of them. 590 out of 704. Which is pretty good, I would say. 590 out of 704. I would say, so that means that we got 114 playoff teams wrong. Teams that we predicted to be out of the playoffs that made the playoffs. I would say, this is me doing some back of the envelope math. That's 114. Half of that is, oh gosh, why did I set myself up for this? Half of that is
114.
57? 57.
Yeah.
Half of that is 57. I would say 57 of them were bubble teams, right? Yep. Teams that were predicted to be 5th, but they won the right game and got in.
Some of them also with that come from tiebreakers.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we thought this team would finish 5th, and they ended up having the tiebreaker to get in.
50, let's say 57 of them are, about half of them, those are they were on the cusp, and like we really thought a lot of them, but like we thought this other team was going to win. We got that game wrong.
The gap between 3, 4, and 5 was narrow.
Small enough, right? So I would say my final answer is 57. That is my official guess for how many
I like it. It's
true
educated.
surprises there are every year as far as crashing the playoff party that we just didn't see coming.
Yeah.
About 57 would be my guess. Yeah. Now, of course, you can declare that in a different way. Like, for example, a team like Harmony, which I believe we had in the playoffs, or maybe like right outside the playoffs, but then they go, maybe we didn't, but then they go on that incredible run throughout the playoffs and make it into the state semifinals. That would be a different kind of Cinderella, where like once they get hot in the playoffs. But as far as teams that made the playoffs that we didn't think were going to get there, I would say my guess is 57.
I like it.
Of teams that were true surprises to be in the postseason. All right, let's do 2 more.
2 more? All right. What do you think of Kirk Martin returning to Manville? Does this move Manville back into the state title contenders list?
It's interesting, right? It's a very, very intriguing job. I don't think Kevin Hall did a poor job at Manville.
No.
Quite frankly. I think that for Manville, one of the things that has been a challenge for them is that the past couple of years, well, first of all, I think moving up, being 5A D1 is tough. That's tough, especially there in Region 3, which has gotten increasingly more difficult. I think that Region 3 was a real bear this year with Smithson Valley, College Station, Fulshire to a certain extent, teams like that. They are also, and this is a very Manville thing to do, they are almost always very senior heavy. They play a lot of seniors. And so every year when you look in the magazine, they've only got like 3 and 4 starters returning because they just play a ton of seniors. So you're kind of at the mercy of guys getting up to speed. And the other thing, I mean, the elephant in the room here is the addition of Shadow Creek, right? That they are,
which was why it was so big when those two played each other in week 1 of the season this past year.
That Shadow Creek has been pulling kids from Manville theoretically, and that hurts, right? That's a real that's a real tangible thing, and this would be the time when you would be feeling that. Now, I do think that Kirk Martin is a great coach. I think he proved that at Colleyville Heritage. He proved that at Manville before then. He doesn't need to prove anything. I am very intrigued by him returning because he is returning to a different Manville. He's returning to a program that is that the circumstances have changed because of Shadow Creek, because of the way that they draw to those schools, and simply because, look, they're not that big bully on the block like they used to be. And so he needs to rebuild Hoka-Hay as being one of those teams that you hate to play. And there have been teams that have been able to wound them recently, and I think that he one of his challenges is going to be kind of to rebuild that kind of invincibility, that final boss type idea.
You want to go back to walking off the bus and being up 14, because that's what they were for.
Being like, dang it, oh man, we have to play Manville this week. So anyway, I'm very intrigued by it. I think that it is a different job than the one that he left, and that is what's going to be really interesting. Left is a strong word. He went to the college ranks, and
right.
You know what I mean. All right, you got an ender?
I do. If you could live in another state, what state would it be and what city?
I mean, like, the easy answer is like Hawaii, but
yes. Yeah, give me one, like, let's say retirement setup, and then one, like, actual feasible living setup.
I mean, I'd want to retire to, like, somewhere near the water. You know what I mean? So, like, but, like, then again, I'd want to retire to, like, Corpus Christi, or, like, Port Isabel. But, if that's off limits, yeah, maybe like Hawaii, or maybe like
mine would be Boca Raton, Florida. It's a hard hitting, like, retirement community already, so there's like activities for you to do.
So you just want to play pickleball all day?
Hell yeah, and bingo. I'm big into bingo.
Yeah, Florida doesn't interest me, to be real honest. A lot of Florida people there. It's one of the big drawbacks. Yeah, I would move there. I would say a realistic thing is that, like, I have always, and I know this is going to go against a lot of the things that I've said over the course of this program. So bear with me. I understand the hypocrisy that's going to leave my mouth.
Be a fake.
I've always thought it would be fun to live in Chicago. Like, I think
Yeah, I
Chicago.
couldn't do that.
I think Chicago
Absolutely not.
is. I think Chicago, as far as like big cities in America,
Yeah.
that would be the city that I would want to live in.
I hate wind and
outside,
cold,
outside of
so the
Texas.
windy city
That's the
does
problem.
not bode well
You know,
for me.
The problem is the weather, obviously.
Yeah.
But like, I've been to Chicago enough, and I just like the whole vibe.
The vibes.
I just like the vibes. Atlanta's a different, an interesting choice too. Although the sprawl there is very real, very much like DFW, and Houston for that matter. But yeah, I mean, the easy solution is just don't leave Texas.
Yeah. If I had to do a more feasible thing, I think Boca or Key West or somewhere down in Florida for a retirement type of thing would be awesome. If I had to say like a feasible thing, I really like Georgia. I think Georgia's really pretty. I think that it like the weather is something that I can handle. It obviously
go
gets
to Savannah Bananas games.
Exactly. Yeah, I think Savannah would be awesome, or anywhere kind of on the little countryside out there. I do like Georgia a lot.
That's not bad.
I can't do cold. I mean,
that's the thing.
And that's like California would be fantastic.
The one drawback, but
it's so expensive to live out there.
For sure. But the other thing, I live in Las Vegas. The other thing,
we'd never see you again.
You really never would. I would never leave the casino.
No.
But the other, yes, weather in Chicago for a lot of the year is but summer in Chicago is pretty choice.
See, and that's where I like a North Carolina, like a Charleston, North Carolina. Like I think I could do that. Like it's definitely going to get a little bit colder, but it would be beautiful during the summer, and that's like big boat town water side. That would be cool.
Yeah. Exactly.
I think I could do Charleston.
That's going to do it for us. Look at us. A full week of shows.
Wow.
All it took was
TFT.
getting to February 17th. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbells. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks again to Reed Heim, the head coach of the Denton Guyer Wildcats, for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please get your Player of the Year trophy. We will see you Monday on Texas Football Today.